What's going on, everybody? Good morning. We have made it to yet another weekend, and we've got a little something fun to talk about. I'm not going to say this is news. I'm not going to say this is any kind of analysis or prediction or anything like that. We did plenty enough of that during the early parts of the off season. Now there's really nothing to do except take a look at whatever hindsight information we get access to, I guess is what you could call it. So, I want to talk about this story that came out yesterday. I think most people probably suspected that this was what happened on draft day, but I want to talk a little bit about this because it's fun and it's also pretty interesting. Real quick before I get into this story, though, I want to say a little housekeeping thing. I know I haven't been on Twitch in a little while. I just haven't felt like streaming the last few days. I am going to be getting back on Twitch almost certainly tonight at some point. Going to turn it on. We have to finish Rebirth, and I've been putting that off way too long. So we will be starting on that because there is some new stuff coming out that I do want to be prepared to start. So look for me on Twitch tonight. I know it's been I took like 4 days off, which I usually don't do, but I just wasn't feeling it for a little bit there. So hopefully see you guys tonight. But I want to talk a little bit about this piece of information that came out. Now, it seemed like this was probably the case even on draft day, like as the stuff was happening. But there was some video and there was a story that got released that basically confirmed the Rams really wanted Byron Murphy II. The Rams really wanted to get Byron Murphy, so much so that they wanted to trade ahead of the Seahawks pick, our pick, to guarantee they could get him because they thought we would take him, and they were right. So, first of all, I mean, it's just kind of cool to see, I guess, that you sniped a team. Now, the last time we sniped the Rams in the draft, it was Dwayne Eskridge. I recall very clearly many people believed very strongly that the Rams wanted to take Eskridge, and we took him right before the Rams picked, so the Rams ended up taking Tutu Atwell. So that one didn't really work out well for us, and the Rams would go on to win the Super Bowl less than a year after that happened, so nobody really remembers that anymore. Hopefully this snipe works out a little bit better, but I want to talk a little bit about the trade. I want to talk a little bit about the trade that they tried to make to get Byron Murphy. So the trade that the Rams offered up, according to this story, I got this screenshot here. The Colts would get the 19th pick, obviously, and the Rams would get the 15th pick. So the Rams would be one pick ahead of the Seahawks, and they would be able to get Murphy before we did, because they correctly assumed that we would take him if he was there. And the Rams would also get a 6th round pick, and the Colts, to move back 4 spots, would get a 3rd round pick, a late 3rd round pick, and a 5th round pick, 154 overall. The 3rd round pick is 99th, so it's right at the back end of the 3rd round, but it's a pretty extreme trade offer, honestly. And looking at it, especially when you consider the fact that the Colts took Laiatu Latu, who I did not view as somebody who was going to go in the top 20 at all, I'm actually really surprised the Colts did not take this offer. So if you take a look at what actually ended up happening with these picks, the Rams kept pick 99, took Cameron Kinchens. Interesting safety prospect. I like him well enough. A little bit concerned about him, but there's some good stuff there for sure. The Rams also kept their 5th round pick and ended up taking Brennan Jackson. He's a nice power edge type player who I think has a pretty good shot in the NFL to be good. Local Pac-12 product as well, Washington State. And the 6th round pick ended up in the hands eventually of the Arizona Cardinals, who took the UAB receiver Tejuan Palmer. So you make of that what you will, but of course it needs to be said that the teams had no idea what players they were going to get at 99 and 154 and 191 when this trade was being discussed. So better way to look at it would be look at the trade calculator on Over the Cap. And there are a bunch of different trade calculators out there you can use. Each one's going to use different criteria. But you can see 19th overall, 99 overall, 154 overall in exchange for 15 overall, and they didn't have the Colts with 191 overall, so I just did 201 overall. You can see the Colts dominate this trade by about 686 points. Now, if this pick was correct, it would be a little bit less. It would be like 660 or 665, but that's still really, really extreme. That's still an extreme win to move back 4 spots when the Colts ended up taking Latu, who I really don't think was any kind of a guarantee to go in the next few picks. You could have gotten him in 19, probably. I don't think the Seahawks would have taken him. There were injury issues with him. There's also the concern about him being a little bit older. So I don't think that was a thing. And the Colts turned this offer down, which, I mean, I think it's pretty surprising. But more interesting to us is the fact that the Rams offered this. They were willing to give all this up to get Byron Murphy. They valued him that much more over Jared Verse, who was the guy they ended up getting. Now, they don't know for sure they're going to get Jared Verse, but it was a reasonable thought at the time that he was going to be there if they wanted him, and they ended up taking him. Now, maybe it would be more fair compared to like Fisk, because Fisk is the guy they took as an interior defensive lineman instead of Byron Murphy. But the bottom line is, this shows how much the Rams coveted and liked and revered the game of Byron Murphy. Now, you guys know that I don't love the Byron Murphy stuff the way that a lot of you guys do. I've talked about it plenty of times this offseason. I've made several videos talking about why I don't think this is some kind of a generational player. I don't think the comps that people are making are very likely to end up playing out. I don't think this guy's Aaron Donald. I don't think this guy's Jalen Carter, at least not on the field. I don't think he's Cortez Kennedy. I don't think he's going to be some 10-time All-Pro the way some people are talking about him. But this does show that we are not the only team out there that really, really coveted this guy and really, really thought highly of him. The Rams were willing to get destroyed in terms of value in this trade. They were willing to give up their ability to... They ended up getting, I think, a future starting safety in this league in Kinchins and a future rotational, maybe rundown edge in this league to secure him. And they were also willing to give up Jared Verse, I guess you could say, because that's the guy they ended up getting. They ended up drafting. But regardless of how I feel about him, regardless about how any of us feel about him, you got to admit this makes you feel pretty good, right? This excites you because this isn't like the Eskridge thing. There was no indication the Rams tried to trade up to get Eskridge. They just were going to take him if he was there, supposedly, and they ended up taking Atwell because we took him. The Rams actually tried to trade up, and they were willing to get abused by the Colts to make it happen. So, not only do they not get him, he goes to a division rival. And you can see, if you watch the video, they're not happy about it. They don't like it. They feel like they got sniped of the guy that they really wanted here. So, hey, Sean McVay, Les Snead, they know what's up. They should know what's up, right? They've been Sean McVay is one of the best coaches in the NFL. Les Snead did put together a team that won the Super Bowl recently. Now, I would say that the Rams didn't exactly get there by drafting. It's not the draft that the Rams have been building their ability to contend on, right? Like, if anything, they're the team that always trades their picks. They always never picks in the first round because they trade everything. They trade for Jalen Ramsey. They trade for Matt Stafford. They trade for Von Miller. So it's not like they're experts of the draft process. It's not like they have amazing drafts or anything like that. But we're seeing people say, hey, this guy's going to be really good. This guy's going to be really special. This guy's going to be a great player in the NFL. And you see things like this, and it does have to make you feel good because none of us really know right now. We go off of what we see on the VMAC field. We go off of what we see on the college tape. We go off of what we see in the stats from college. We go off what we see eventually in preseason games. But to know that the Rams wanted this guy this badly and couldn't get him, it feels good right now. hopefully it continues to feel good when the season starts. So let me know what you think. Not that there's necessarily a lot to think about this. It's just something that happened. But yeah, this is the kind of stuff that makes you feel better about the pick. If you're somebody like me that is still a little bit lukewarm on it because I don't think he has all-pro type ceiling. I don't think that he's going to be some all-time great, but is still pretty good with him. I still think he's going to be a really good player in this league. I think that he probably will cap out as some kind of a Pro Bowl caliber player. You look at stuff like this and you're like, hey, the some of the best in the world, because I would say that Rams organization right now, you would call them one of the best in the world. They won a Super Bowl. They had one crap year, and then they're right back at it. They really liked him. All right, guys. See you guys later. Go Hawks. Like I said, I'll be on Twitch tonight. We got to get through Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. I want to start SMT5 Vengeance. That came out actually yesterday. And we also have that Elden Ring DLC next week that I might want to take a shot at. All right. See you guys later. Go Hawks.